Hey Time Slicers, welcome to Slice Squad Spills. I'm your host, Nikki Wildflower. I went from a basement apartment to a multiple seven-figure empire. Now I'm here to share how you can do it too. Hi, and welcome to the Slice Squad Spills podcast. We're so excited to have you here. I'm here with my co-host and sister, Jackie.
Hi.
Today, we're going to be talking about my biggest career mistakes, our biggest career mistakes, what I have learned from those mistakes. I made the mistakes so that you don't have to make them. So yeah, I made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. And that is what we're going to focus on today. When I first started out, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my career was like charging people emotionally rather than the actual value that I was providing. And I don't think that I realized how much I was actually sacrificing when I did that. So everybody that like ever even like crossed paths with me in some way and like knew somebody that I knew, or like everybody felt like a friend to me because that's the industry kind of that we're in. It's the people and the connections. And then next thing you know, like you're friends with everybody and you start giving everybody a discount. And it really is like undervaluing the work that you do. Like I realized at one point, I actually calculated how much money I lost in 1 week from emotionally discounting people. And it was a lot. It was like over $1,000.
Because you're like
And
every single person, you're like, hey, I know that you're cousins with my second cousin's aunt. And so I'm going to give you the family
so
friend.
we're cousins basically.
Yeah.
And so you're getting a discount. Yeah. Like, you used to be my dad's customer. Oh, you've met my mom. You saw her at the grocery store. Like
You
you're
met her
getting a
one
discount.
time. Yeah, family
Yeah.
friend discount.
We went to high school together. It was like every time I would find like any kind of connection whatsoever, or even if I just liked the person a lot. And the other reason I would do that is maybe lack of confidence. So like I would wait, I wouldn't tell them, like talk about the investment up front and then get to the end and like panic and make it lower. Or I wouldn't talk about the investment up front, see their hair, not really like it because we pick our own work apart, and then end up being like, okay, if I just shave off 50, it'll feel worth it to me, you know?
Projecting like your own things onto your clients, like your own perfectionism in a way, or like your own thoughts. I think, well, actually tell me if this resonates for you. Like at that time when you like first started out and you were just trying to like bring a bunch of people in and really build up, do you feel like because your financial situation was a little bit different that maybe you projected that onto your clients?
Well, I'm not sure. I think that, but I do think that like a big part of it was me. Yeah, my financial situation was different, but even when I like started making more money and like I was doing really well for myself, I still emotionally discounted because then I felt guilty for having too much money.
Ah, so it went both ways.
It went both, like there was no
Yeah.
way that I wasn't going to do that. Like everyone was getting, I was either not making enough money or I was making too much money and I had to like spread it out into the world evenly. So I'm just like, well, I already made it and this person's not doing that well financially. So let me just cut them a break. And then, you know, you end up just, so what now? I have to work harder? No,
Right. It doesn't make sense. Like
it doesn't.
there's always resourcing, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. I do too. If someone can't afford your services anymore and you are at that point where you're booked out and you're actually just sacrificing a potential full booking spot paid at full price for that person, then maybe resourcing them very kindly, like, thank you for all of your loyalty. Like, here are the options that I can offer you, which are not a discount. And if none of those work, or maybe like a package or something different or a smaller service, right? But if none of those work, I totally understand. And here's a stylist in the area that is great and their rates are at a more comparable rate to what you're hoping for, right? Like that's kind, actually.
100%. Now I do that and
Yeah,
I
no,
teach
of
people
course.
to do that as well. But you know, you got to go through the shit. Like one day I think you just realize you're like, what the hell am I doing out here working for free? Like
Mhm.
who told me that was a good idea? And then like client would be like, that's it? Are you sure? And I'm like, oh God, why did I do that? Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I'm like, I choose me. I choose my family, my life, my freedom to work less
You know the
And to
value
make
you're offering.
I know the value I'm offering, the demand is there. Demand really kind of dictates how much you can charge in a way. Like I actually wrote something this morning. If you're booked out for 3 months, like that's not the badge of honor you think it is. It means you have to raise your prices.
How far out do you think people should be booked ideally in small business?
Listen, for me, like I won't book myself more than a month anymore. I used to be booked out for like months at a time. I don't do that anymore because I want the freedom at this point of being able to move things around and take trips and stuff like that just because of the lack of predictability in my day to day and like, oh, when are we going to be flying here to do a class? Am I going to get an opportunity to go somewhere else that I
Pink
want to travel
Hermosi's
to?
in Las Vegas, dot, dot,
Yeah, am I
dot.
gonna have that opportunity? You just never freaking know.
I love that.
So, I don't know what I was gonna say, so it doesn't matter. I got distracted. I wanted it to look like more like an ambiance, so I had to move the plant over.
Yeah, everything's looking like you look like you're in a vibe, and I'm like, hi.
I'm in like my personal talk show over here. My feet are on the table. Hopefully, I don't scuff it.
I like it. It looks
I'm
very
comfy,
comfy. Yeah.
but I want like a blanket. I'm cold. I
Maybe
don't
no
know. I
blanket.
have the heat blasted, but it's just not enough for me for some reason. Michelle's over there. She's probably sweating. Second biggest career mistake was I didn't really used to like track my income. Like I was doing well, I could pay my bills, but I didn't really have like solid goals. Like these are the numbers that I want to be hitting. This is what the numbers that I would need to be hitting for this to be possible in my life. I didn't really have like tangible goals. I would have like okay, I make around this much, but like I'm crumpling up my gratuity, putting it into the bottom of my bag. Everybody's getting a shot that night. Like I just didn't take it seriously. I don't know. I felt like I was doing well enough where like I didn't really need to like track it or have any like real goals. I don't know. It's weird. Like I just was so unorganized.
I did the same thing. So for me, when I started my first business, Healing Touch by Jackie, Paul helped me create, actually, our brother, he helped me create, he did on Google Sheets, made me a place where I can plug in my numbers and see what I was making, but gratuities. So I kind of did, I wasn't super organized. So I wouldn't always fill them in, and then gratuities to me were just like, especially cash, straight up. It was free money. Like I was like, oh, this doesn't count. This isn't my income.
It's out of control. Yeah. And then also even yeah, anytime somebody would like pay me cash or something like that, or even like pay their service in cash, that money didn't exist. So like if it would go through the credit card reader, it would be in my system. So yeah, if it would go through the credit card reader, it would be in my system. And if it didn't go through the credit card reader, it didn't exist.
Same.
And then I didn't even have like real goals. I think when I first opened up my studio, I was like, I just need to make enough to pay rent. And then the next thing was after like I just need to make enough to pay rent. The next thing was like, oh, I want to make like $1,000 a week. Then I want to make $2,000 a week. Then I want to make, and at a point I was doing like multiple six figures behind the chair, but I was tracking at that point. Just like before that, when I started getting to like that 1,500 a week range, 2,000 a week, I'm just like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've like realized that I was like missing out on $1,000 a week that I was considering monopoly money.
100%. I was doing
Yeah.
that even with Venmo. So when I first opened my business, here's another like mistake that I made. I didn't understand the concept of opening an LLC. So I just ran my business under my name and my own social security number and stuff like that. There are ways to do that. And for some people, they find benefit in it. But to me, like the structure of having a business bank account, operating an LLC, having a business Venmo account so that you can track the percentage that they take, because they take a percentage when it's a business Venmo account. That sort of structure I had no idea about. I had zero education. That's another mistake. I didn't invest in any sort of business education, only kept taking trainings to like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to become a yoga teacher also. I'm a massage therapist. I'm going to do sports massage, Thai massage training, Reiki training. I did every training that there was under the sun, but still couldn't succeed in a business because I didn't know how. But nonetheless, I had a regular Venmo account that I would accept payment to. And then I would just not count that. That was like fake to me also. So like only if they processed a credit card payment
And
would I
only through
count
the
it
credit
and
card.
track
That
it.
was the
Yep.
only thing.
And I'm
Yeah,
like, what? That's the same.
it doesn't make any sense.
No, we were being
But
so silly.
so silly. No, but also, why is that such a thing? Like, we have when it comes to like learning hair color techniques and learning hair extensions, people will like jump on it so fast. And I used to be like that too. Like because that's our craft. And I'm just like, yeah, but that's not going to change your life. What you do with it could, like, for example, slice strands, you can install those in less than 10 minutes per row. And then you have the color techniques that we use. You could install those. I mean, you could do those really, really quickly as well. Utilizing those in line with like knowing how to in your business is so important. Like that, knowing the stuff alone is not going to get you where you need
Yeah.
to be.
If you have no foundation on like how to even get the high ticket clients, how to retain them, give them a luxury experience if you're charging luxury prices, right? Manage your money and finances, like be able to have like understand your net profit, like what you're putting into your business. The ground is just going to keep falling out from under you, right?
I made my first investment in my business in like 2022, like in a mentor. It was like 10
Hmm.
grand. And that was an astronomical amount. And then when I thought to myself and I look back and I was like, that is actually like way less than going to college, which did absolutely nothing for me. And this propelled me like 10 years ahead. But I don't know why I hesitated so much until that point.
Because I think everyone like or I would say most people in businesses like hairstyling or like adjacent industries are probably would consider themselves creative, like a creative mind, and they want to like keep learning the trade because that's the passion. But again, without the practical knowledge in business, no matter how many modalities or services you train in, it's not going to change the structure of your business at the end of the day. And that's a hard one to swallow as a creative. Like, well, I don't want to learn this boring shit about making spreadsheets and tracking my numbers, but it can be fun and it could be efficient and it's practical information. It's like college, yeah, is like you learn everything. You're like back to high school, part two, with like a little bit of focus knowledge. Trade school is like very direct. Trade school, here's what you're learning, go be in this trade now, which is great. Slice Squad Consulting is like college, like practical knowledge in business and marketing. And the business mentor you invested in,
It's
same
better than
thing.
college.
It's way better than
I'm,
college.
I'm not even just saying that because it's mine. It just is so like the knowledge is so practical. When I invested in my first mentor and I actually took that leap, it just was like, okay, I'm investing for somebody to tell me I don't have to reinvent the wheel. This person did what I want to do with their career already, so I can get 10 years ahead by just getting that knowledge. But I was like, I don't even know what the freak I was doing before that. Just like reading, I was just listening to podcasts and like reading books, and I thought that that would be enough. I'm like, yeah, I'm smart, so I can just do this.
Yeah.
And I
There's
could
like,
have. It would have taken me a really long time, though.
yeah, I was going to say, like, there is a lot of information out there. And so, like, sure, can you do your research and find all of the information to be successful in business and like structure your life in a way, like as an entrepreneur? Sure, you can. There's also really confusing, conflicting messages out there and information on being a business owner. And it's like, which one do I do? And it will take you a much longer amount of time and a lot more failing during that process to get there. So it's not like you can't, but it very likely is going to be a much more difficult, lonely, and like, yeah, not great journey. Which, if that's the journey you're on, great.
No, you can. People do it all the time.
Yeah,
Like you can take
possible.
what you learn for free on the internet and have like a good career out
Yeah,
of it, or you can invest
and expedite
in
the
having
process.
and expedite the process. That's
Yeah,
it.
and be more confident. I think personally.
You decide. I don't freaking know. But I know that when I invested in my mentor, I just was like, I'm just gonna do whatever this person tells me to do.
You went next level with it.
And I didn't even like have to even meet with them really. I just dove right into like their blueprint and just started putting things into play. By the time I actually met with my coach, he was like, "Oh, you already like did all this. You just did it. You just put it into action." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Those are my favorite clients.
Well, I don't want to talk myself out of it. How many times have I had an idea that was like probably a good one and I didn't take action on it right away? And like I missed out on the opportunity because I ended up like either getting distracted or talking myself out of it. I wasn't going to let myself do that.
That's another career mistake for me too. I've done that so many times, like overanalyzed and then allowed my own limiting beliefs to take over and like steer me in the direction rather than moving in the direction of the version of myself that I was envisioning. I wasn't making decisions as that Jackie. I've always made decisions as like the one who's scared in a scarcity mindset, not confident to move forward and make big decisions. Not I always had. And I feel like I've really done the wraparound on that one. But that one was like really one of the biggest mistakes for me was to continue to allow myself to let my narrative be in alignment with what those limiting beliefs were rather than my narrative be in alignment with where I was trying to go.
And I mean, listen, like shit's scary. I couldn't afford really to invest in that mentor when I did. And then like that particular person, even there were things online that were like, this person is a scam. And I was like, shit. But I didn't read that before. I read it after. And I was like, but probably not. Maybe just some people had a bad experience. I was like, so I'm sure that there's a lot of information in there that I'll be able to utilize. So I didn't even like sweat it. I just went like, I just dove in and I just I'm like, this person, I'm just going to use the model that they have here that they use to build their business. And I'm going to do the same thing.
I mean, I got to learn from that person and that whole team when we went to the in-person event, and there was a lot of really valuable information. We actually used a lot of their business structure in Slice Squad Consulting. Like a lot of it, it was super
I learned
valuable.
so much from my first mentor, and I'm still on the market for my next mentor. There's a lot of like, we have a lot of like thriving businesses at this point, but I don't like, I still want somebody who's like doing more than me to mentor me. Like, where do I go from here?
Yeah, it's by no means
Somebody
like
help, okay?
never maxed out, by no means, never maxed out unless you want to stay where you're at, and that's not in your nature, my friend.
It's not in my nature, unfortunately.
No. Just growing is what's in your nature. I actually just started reading this book called The Inner Workbook, and they like literally the TikTok shop got me. I don't know if I know you don't really
gets
scroll.
me.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't know if you scroll Instagram, TikTok ever.
Not a
just
lot.
like for fun, but I do sometimes at night. I scroll it for fun. It always like, that For You page, they really read your mind. They can hear your conversations probably, but it's always hitting me right when I need it with exactly what I'm looking for. And they hit me with like, some words from a book, and I'm like, immediate buy. Like, don't leave your card on file on that thing. Buy immediately.
Books come up on yours?
Books, different office supplies.
TikTok really has me so wrong then, because
is it like clothes?
Yeah, it's all clothes, like high-waisted, make your booty look good. And I buy them because I'm just like, I do like my butt to look good. Why wouldn't I? But I want office supplies. TikTok.
Yeah, this chair, like the crisscross applesauce chair, like the big giant one.
What do you
TikTok
mean?
shop got me on that. Oil pulling, TikTok shop got me on that. The Inner Workbook now. I got that. There's a trigger warning in the beginning of it, which I think is hilarious. It's like, this book is going to trigger you 100%. But on the topic that we were speaking into, feeling like maybe you should have been a colonial woman, but also that you never want to stop growing in business. So like you have two completely dual-sided visions there and feelings. So this book, like the first chapter that I'm reading, is all about how no matter what, whether you've reached every goal and milestone that you've set for yourself, or you live a more simplified life, if you will, the feeling of joy and happiness straight up doesn't come from any of it, which I think we know. But like, just to be reminded that it's all like a state of inner being and consciousness, and like no matter how many milestones you hit, it's not, how many.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything.
No,
for me.
No, for nobody. Like, how many famous people have spoken that are like reached every level of fame?
I couldn't wait to get here, and then like here wasn't any better than there.
Here we are now.
Well,
sad,
but
rich.
yeah, but it's like where I am now and like, listen, like, I don't think that anything superficial or hitting any milestones would bring me any kind of like long lasting joy. And I've learned that. Like, I have learned that it doesn't, well, studies show that like people who anything over 75,000 that you make a year, it's like that level of happiness is around the same. So you're not going to like be happier acquiring more things. You're just not. But I will say that like the experiences that I get to have, but I think that's probably like because I've done so much inner work that like I would be joyful even if I didn't have this level of success. It's just like something that I have worked on so much.
No, 100%. And like that, I just thought it was a cool reminder in the book. Like, oh, yeah, no matter what, you have to do inner work and create joy internally. I will say that, like, we live in America. And I mean, in most of this entire world, money does provide you with more resources. So, like, for your mental health and stuff like that. So I do think that it's more attainable, I guess, for those people to get the resources. And that's
Well, at
kind of
least you could
unfortunate.
afford to get your antidepressants.
Right. Exactly. Like healthcare, literally. Hello. Let's not even get into it. But yeah, so I guess it is pretty like privileged of a point of view and perspective, honestly. But in the same breath, just a good reminder, I think, is like it's all created within, whether you make $75,000 a year or you make $1 million, you know?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Because I've even had like, there are things where there have been times where I'm experiencing like, I'm in my like amazing backyard and I'm just like sitting there and I'm just like, why isn't this doing it for me?
I get
Like
it.
in certain moments in my life, you know?
Hmm.
Like
Me
I
too.
couldn't wait to have this.
And now here I am depressed with my beach.
Now I'm just now instead of being depressed in a basement, I'm just depressed by
On
a
a
pool,
beach.
but I'm still depressed.
I actually think like a few months ago or like a little bit after dad died, I'm like, yeah, to my therapist. I'm like, yeah, no, I have like the most things and resources that I've ever had. Like I have the most freedom financially that I've ever had. And I'm miserable. Miserable. It's not doing anything for me because internally I'm grieving and depressed.
But
Which
I'm not depressed right now.
I don't feel depressed right now. I actually feel amazed. But I've done a full wraparound lately, which is wraparound is the word of the day. For
Yeah.
me. It's not a word.
My
It's a
stomach
phrase.
hurts because I had Fritos. I had like a stress moment before this and I ate a bag of Cheetos and a bag of Fritos.
Yeah, I actually also have a stomach ache today. So that's
Yeah,
very
so my
fun.
stomach hurts here in the middle. From that episode of with the Cheetos. I don't eat like that. So it's like when I
Right.
do, my body gets really mad at me and I don't blame it because it was what was in that?
Red 5, fucking yellow 3. Who knows?
I don't know, but it doesn't feel right. I can
Not
tell you
feeling
that.
good.
All right, so the other thing, I mean, a lot of it's like based around fear. I would have went independent sooner for sure. That whole like when then, like when this happens, then I'll do this. And then
The fallacy.
yeah, the when then fallacy. And then it like when comes and it's just a way of procrastinating. We're protecting ourselves.
Our brain's always going to try to protect us.
I know it's so annoying. I'm like, just let me go. No, I'm
I feel like you've
kidding.
mastered the art of decisive action at this point, though. I'm trying to think if there's another like big one. For me, it was typically always mindset related. Oh, one of the things was, and it is kind of mindset related and framed first, but it was the marketing thing. And I know we did a whole episode on this, but this one was huge for me, being so scared to put myself out there and to be myself on my social, on like my marketing, like my business platform. I thought I had like 17 Instagrams because I thought I can be my full personality on my personal private page. And then I could be my professional refined version of myself on the business pages. And it's like, actually, no. Cause like your people who resonate with you find you when you just actually put yourself out there. I don't have to share every life detail in my marketing messages, but like, why can I not act authentically? That's a completely false story. And everyone who I resonate with on the internet and have purchased anything from, they just show up as themselves. And I just could not put those two things together. Once I did, and I'm still refining it. I still like hide parts of my personality on my business page. And I'm like, no, but And then anytime I make like a funny story where I'm just talking regular, I get more engagement. My people find me because I'm being myself. So if that's one of your stories with your career marketing that like you can't show yourself, you sure can. And better if you do at the end of the day.
I think a lot of people do marketing wrong too. They don't do it from like what does my client want to see? It's coming from a place of like, come by me. Come sit down and let me do your hair instead of like solving problems and adding value.
Mm-hmm. And building
So that's-
connection and trust.
Yeah. So those have been my biggest career mistakes so far. I will make more, but those ones I've fixed. And next year I'll be like, these were my biggest career mistakes of this year.
We're always learning. You got to learn through hardship.
But if you don't give up, you can't really fail. And I shall not. So it's a shorter episode today, but we still wanted to take the time to hang out. So basically, we have an event coming up in New York, April 29th to 30th. That is going to be April 29th and 30th. That is going to be here in New York. That is for the Slice Strands certification for the extension line. We would love to have you if you want to interview for that. We have a limited number of spots, so we like to keep it nice and intimate, and it's really about connection and learning, and it's amazing. It is a vibe. So we'll drop the link for that. You can also apply to come through one of our certifications through that same link. So you can book a call either way. Even if you're like, I don't know what I need, I just need help. We have so many different options now. So many different options that like just get on a freaking call and we'll figure it out.
Let us help you.
And then and even if you're not a hairstylist, we help service providers too that have their own businesses. So there will be another link there for you. I hope that these resonated with some of you and that you'll stop making these freaking mistakes, because I'm telling you to stop.
Stop crumpling your money up in the bottom of your bag.
Stop crumpling your
Just
money.
stop.
It's not good for you. Thank you so much for listening. As always, sincere gratitude. Like, subscribe, download, share. I don't know, but rate, please, if you don't mind, like leaving a rating if you're loving it. That's always really helpful for us. So thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Slice Squad Spills. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe, leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback is going to help us improve and attracts more listeners to the show. Please share with your fellow time slicers. And hey, if you're ready to optimize your time and double your income, we've got you covered.